What's up guys, my name is Troy and today I'm going to be going over all of the books that I plan to read this January. So in general, when I kind of transition from year to year, always like that first month, that January, I always kind of tend to read a little bit less, and that's just because sometimes I need to kind of like ease into the new year a little bit. I need to kind of get my bearings, get my goals and my motivations in check. So basically I just want to kind of start off with a 10-book TBR. I don't think that's really going to be too hard to accomplish. Not that bad. Yeah, today I'm just going to be going over all the books that I plan to read in January. It should be a chill and fun video as always. It's like January 10th probably when you guys are seeing this, or like January 9th, so it's a little bit late for a TBR video, but you know what? I'm going to defy the rules. First up, we have got Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I'm reading this right now, and let me just say, first of all, that there's been so much hype throughout this book, and I need to know, finally, like, is the hype worth it? So I'm going to be reading this on audiobook this month, and I'm excited to see what this book brings. So basically what ends up happening is we're set with this boy named Yadriel, who's openly transgender, and he's set to prove himself to his family that he is a real brujo, and this is a person that can like summon spirits and also set them free if they're getting too like violent or too dangerous for the real world. So one day when Yadriel is trying to prove himself, he accidentally summons a ghost named Julian Diaz, and basically this ghost is his school's resident bad boy, and basically what ends up happening is a romance, I'm pretty sure, blossoms between the two boys, and he doesn't want to set this ghost free. He also has to set, kind of find like the mystery of like Julian's death before he also tries to find the mystery of his dead cousin. So there's a really fun like aspect to this book. It's obviously like the Latinx culture. I'm really excited to explore that. It's been really fun like exploring, like, you know, like with all like the Dia de los Muertos stuff. Like I just love reading about this culture. I love the characters already. I'm really liking Yadriel and also Maritza, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, and Julian. Like I'm just loving all the characters. They're all such icons. Just like the themes and topics like explored, especially there's some definite like trigger warnings with like transphobia and stuff like that. Already I'm just off to a great start. I'm like 20%, and I'm excited to see what ends up happening between Julian and Yadriel. Alrighty guys, next up we are going to finish the thermogloss series. Finally, I'm so excited about these last two because they are probably some of the most action-packed. This is basically the parallel to the 5th book in the thermogloss series. It's very important that you read this, but it's also like a parallel. So it basically happens simultaneously in a different country, and it's with some characters that, I mean, we're familiar with, and I just think this book is so amazing. I'm so excited to reread this, especially characters like Irene and Kaal and Nezreen. Like, there's just so many great characters in this book, and I thought the culture of this new southern continent was really amazing. There's also a romance in this book that I really enjoyed, and also just like the culture and the mystery that kind of started sprouting up. And then of course we have to also talk about Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J Maas, which is one of the most giant books I've ever read. It's honestly just action-packed. It's like 980 pages filled to the brim with content. Like this might have even better like worked as 2 books because there was no fat, there was no like extra dialogue or anything. It was literally filled with action. Like it was just battling and war and like some mysterious things with magic going on and some emotional scenes, and I've only read this book once, so I'm excited to reread it and just experience all of the emotions. I've taken like almost a month to read this series, and it's just been so great diving in. So yeah, I'm just really fantastically excited to dive in to the last books in this world. We also have one more series to finish, and that is The Poison Jungle by Ty Sutherland, which is the 13th book in the Wings of Fire series. This is like the last currently book that's out. She's releasing book 14 this year, which is definitely going to be my most anticipated releases. I think it's coming out in March, but for now, we just have up until book 13. I have been enjoying the 3rd arc, which is books 10 and 11, or 11, 12, and 13. Those 3 books in the Wings of Fire series. It's really interesting because there's a new world, it's a new continent filled with new types of dragons, which I thought was really crazy, and the setting in this 13th book is insane. I'm so excited, and there's just some things clashing between the 2 continents that I'm so stoked for. If you guys don't know what the Wings of Fire series is about, it's basically a continent of dragons, which there's all these kinds of dragon tribes. There's just a bunch of adventures in this world, and there is actually a lot of twists, a lot of like violence and kind of like wars going on between tribes, and so it makes makes for a good read, even though it is middle grade. Like, I genuinely do recommend. And so I'm just like really ecstatic to read book 13 because the ending of book 12, all of these endings and these epilogues are just getting to me. So I'm really excited to keep going and read this on ebook because I don't have any of the physical copies. Next up, we have Legend by Mary Lou, and I'm so excited to be reading my second series of Mary Lou. I've been really looking forward to read Legend for a long time, and I think this is finally the time to start it. Legend by Mary Lou is kind of like a futuristic book that takes place in the United States, but it's not the United States anymore, obviously, and it's the Republic, which is in a constant war with its neighbors. We are set with two main characters, the first being June, who is born into an elite and wealthy family. She's being raised in one of the highest like military standings. We're also set with Day, who is the country's most wanted criminal. So the two characters cross when one day June's brother gets murdered and Day becomes the prime suspect. So Day and June kind of have this like cat and mouse game where Day has to run away to kind of like keep him and his family alive, while June is seeking like avengement for his brother's death. But there isn't a Mary Lou book without a twist because they discover what really brought them together, and it makes for a really interesting turn in events. So I'm really excited to read this book. It just sounds so intriguing to me. It sounds like a futuristic sci-fi book, and Mary Lou is really good about writing those. She wrote something about like Wild Card and like Warcross and stuff, like those like futuristic books, and I'm excited to read even more of a futuristic book. Like, I'm just so excited. I've heard so many good things about it. I can't wait. Next up, we have got Bloodleaf by Crystal Smith. I got this for Christmas. I really wanted to read one of the books that I got like physically because I have so many unread books. I have like over 50 unread physical books on my bookshelf, and I need to get popping a little bit or get hop, I don't know. Anyways, this book is basically about this girl named Aurelia who is a princess, and she has magical powers, but there are these witch hunters in her world who try to kind of like find these people with magic and basically like try to get them like murdered or sent away or banished. What ends up happening is they discover her magic, and Aurelia has to flee her country, and she has to like go into a different country as a refugee, and then she tries to find a way to basically get back on these like witch hunters. And so it's gonna be really interesting. It seems to be like fun, like kind of like political fantasy, not too political, but sort of political at the same time. And I'm really excited to kind of dive into Aurelia's character as well as her magic. It's gonna be super fun, and I definitely chose this one as a break between Sarah J Maas because we've got a lot of ACOTAR books to get through this month. I wanted to read all the ACOTAR books this month as well to finish up my rereading season and to finish up my Sarah J Maas rereadathon. So basically, I wanted to read Bloodleaf in the middle of ending Throne of Glass and starting Sarah J Maas's ACOTAR series. So basically, I could just have a little bit of a break of consumption in these books. This series is honestly one of my favorite series that I've ever read. I've only read it once, so this is my first reread of the series, which is going to be super interesting, but I just remember so many breathtaking things about this, starting from the first book and then like just expanding. Like, this book was amazing. Like, we start the Beauty and the Beast retelling. Other books in the series aren't really Beauty and the Beast retellings, but this one is such a strong, unique, but also it kind of held on to some of the roots of the Beauty and the Beast retellings, which I really enjoyed. Sometimes authors go over the top with their retellings, and it's like not even becoming like a like it just doesn't feel like a retelling to me, but this does feel like a retelling to me. And then just like with the second two books, like I just don't know what to say. The second book is a little bit slower than the third book, but like there's just so many plot devices that Sarah J Maas uses and twists and like amazing things. Like, this was just an amazing series. I forgot a lot of like what happens in the series, so I'm really excited to dive back in. And I think that's all my thoughts. And then I'm also going to read the little novella because also this is all for reading ACOTAR before book 4 comes out, which it comes out really soon. So I want to get book 4 to ACOTAR, although I'm probably not going to buy it until it comes in paperback. That wraps up all the 10 books that I'm going to be reading this month. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read more, if I'm going to hit the goal or read less. Well, it's really up to chance, honestly, and how school goes, I'm pretty sure, and I'll talk about that later on. Also, my hair always does this. I always have to like flip it. maybe we'll take out purple, the brush, and we'll fix this hair. Okay, there we go. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I had a really great time going over all these books, and I'm really excited to read in January. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to leave a thumbs up. As always, it helps my videos reach more people, so that's always a good thing. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already. Just why not? You can always unsubscribe. And make sure to comment down below, what books are you excited for this month? I'd really like to hear any of your anticipated book releases or any books that you plan to read this month. And I'll leave the last video up there. Thank you guys so much for watching. watching, and have an amazing, amazing day. Happy reading. Love you guys so much. Bye.